Hey, welcome to EPN. I'm Victor Lucas. This is my buddy Behr Safi, also known as Baruti. You got to subscribe to his channel. We are talking about video games. We looked at about 1 million video games yesterday, but 1 million more are happening today. Right. And we are moments away from the Square Enix E3 2018 panel. How are you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling tired, but I'm also so excited. This is one of the best times of the year.
Yes.
And so far, I've been really happy with E3. Sure, EA's conference on Saturday was a little slow.
Yep.
Not exactly what I wanted from the company.
Yes.
But yesterday, man, Microsoft came with the big guns. Then we had Bethesda really show off kind of what we expected from Bethesda, but I did not expect the Starfield reveal.
Yes.
And the Skyrim, like, hey, we're working on it. Exactly what we were asking for in our pre-show. That was one of the best conferences I think Bethesda's ever had, in my opinion.
That was one of the best E3 conferences, period.
Yeah.
But the games that they showed weren't all to my personal liking. Like, I didn't love every single thing, but when you think about the diversity and the ways in that they're sort of creating for people, it's freaking amazing, right?
Think about just how the team at Bethesda, like how many franchises can this, developer / publisher really own?
Yes.
Right? And they showed pretty much everything they had except very few franchises.
Yes.
We saw Doom, we saw Prey, we saw Wolfenstein.
Yes.
They mentioned VR.
Yeah.
Obviously talked a lot about Fallout 76 is what everyone was wondering.
Totally.
So it's just, I'm a happy camper. And this now, talking about Square.
Yep.
You were mentioning how this is their first show at E3 since 2015.
Their first presentation, and I think this one's a little bit different. I don't think they have like a live sort of stage show. I think it's a video that they're putting together.
Yeah.
And we should mention that this is very early on a Monday morning here at EXP. We've been having an incredible time here at this restaurant in Vancouver, and they've been so wonderful to accommodate us and to let us come in and stream, and people have been coming down, and we've been having a blast with people. But it's early, and this, because Square Enix doesn't do these things on a regular basis, I don't know if there is that same level of fervor for what they're going to reveal,
Yeah.
So I think people are, well, and also people have jobs and they go to school and things. So what I'm saying is we might not get a packed house behind us here for Square Enix, but we're just about to open.
It's a weird conference.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that, because I was thinking that too, kind of coming over here, is like, what is Square really going to show us that we haven't already seen? There's going to be no real shock value.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw a lot of Kingdom Hearts already.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blake. Blake's got our back if you see him
Yes.
coming in here
Yes.
a little bit.
Yes.
Big shout outs to him. That being said, it's just like we saw Kingdom Hearts. We saw Just Cause was announced during the Xbox presser.
Yeah.
We saw the
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
A Captain Spirit might show up
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a big one.
Mm-hmm. Dragon Quest 11.
Dragon Quest 11 is a good one.
Yes.
We got Project
Which I played a
Octopath.
bit, and it was, I don't know. I probably can't. I don't know. I can't say anything, but I played it a little bit.
Well, did Dragon Quest 11 release in Japan?
Right,
thought it
okay.
did.
Yes,
I thought
it
the
did.
game's
Yeah.
been out.
It was super cool. It's beautiful.
I don't think they're going to show much of it.
No.
If anything, we might just see.
Well, they're massive. It's so hard to, really give us a taste of what these things. It's cutscenes and like lots of little bits and pieces of
it's
environment.
also the fact that the game's already been out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
So
Yes.
it's just, is that I think the big one that everyone is talking about and everyone is thinking of is Final Fantasy VII.
Right.
Right? They've already announced that this is going to be kind of like a chapter by chapter sort of release.
Yeah.
Are they ready for that first chapter? Is this why they're having a conference, is to really show us what we can expect from Final Fantasy VII? Because I think that'll be huge.
I think they got to show it, and they got to give us a release date.
Yeah.
And it's going to be playable on the show floor right next to
Oh,
Metroid
no.
Prime 4.
Vic, no, Vic is taking a flight tomorrow morning, and he is setting himself for a lot of disappointment, ladies and gentlemen.
We got a comment here from Mondo Blasto Zero saying, did you two have breakfast at home? Doesn't seem like EXP would have a breakfast menu. They actually went to the trouble and effort to create a whole range of new menu items for this weekend for this stream. So we started something here, and I think that this might become a regular kind of routine for us here, because this is an amazing place to come to, and it's an amazing place to stream out of, and people have been super cool. So yeah, you can come on down, and you will be able to eat, and you will be able to drink, and there's all kinds of good stuff here.
It's just been so good, just seeing the EP family. And if you guys aren't here, if you guys are from somewhere else, obviously, it's just been a blast talking to you guys on the chat.
Yes.
Vic has been doing a great job interacting with everyone.
Well, let's say hello to a few folks here. Actually,
Yeah,
Paul
let's do
Adamson, I see your beautiful smiling face in there. Happy day to you. Sub-Zero is here. We've got Oasis Beyond. Canadians eat beer for breakfast.
We have poutine for breakfast.
Thorazine666. I did not expect Andrew WK. Yeah, that would be a pretty good troll if Bethesda just blasted Andrew WK this early in the morning across the world. It's actually not that early in the morning for a lot of you. You guys are already into your afternoons in some places that are watching this right now. We've got Tyler Hodgkinson. We've got Sub-Zero Z. I hope EPN does E3 stream next year in the U.S. Is that an invite? Are we coming to your house, Sub-Zero? Jordan Cunningham says, hello, Vic. Hello, Jordan Cunningham. Good to see you guys. Hi there says, I'm here. Hi there.
guys.
Okay, we're here too. Graphic God, show it or blow it. Yes. What do you guys want to see out of Square Enix? What have they got to show us? What do you want them to show you that is going to impress you like crazy?
As the questions start coming in, right
Yeah.
now let's talk about one of the big ones that a lot of people have been talking about.
Yeah.
This has been coming like a little leak from IDOS Montreal. I think it's been announced now, but there's the unannounced Avengers project.
Oh, that's from Crystal Dynamics. That's coming for sure.
Yeah, and you think that's going to be shown here?
Yeah, I think they're going to show everything that they can that
Yeah.
they own. Sorry, I had a coconut bar and I've got a little bit of coconut happening. Just how sometimes coconut comes back to visit you a little bit later on.
So you
no,
think that's going to be shown for sure today?
absolutely, if it's not here, it's going to be a PlayStation. But I would be surprised if Square Enix doesn't say, because they have a lot to be proud of. They've got a lot going on with their Marvel stuff, with Tomb Raider in IDOS Montreal, and that looks incredible. With Final Fantasy, with Dragon Quest coming to the platforms, they're going to have a lot of really good things to show us.
Now let's talk about this Avengers game real quick.
Yep.
What kind of gameplay does it need to have to interest you? Are you wanting another Ultimate Alliance?
No, I don't want another
experience?
Ultimate Alliance. I do, but I don't want this to be. I want this to be the hard choice, and which is kind of the way that Crystal Dynamics usually goes. They usually make it difficult for themselves. They usually think about things that are really technically hard to do, which is what they did with the Tomb Raider games once they took them over.
Yeah.
And I expect this to be a third-person action experience that's akin to what we got out of Batman: Arkham Asylum and the Arkham games, and also Spider-Man, which we're just about to get.
Yep.
So that's taking on a huge load because you've got all of these heroes in this incredible space that they have to fill, and they
gives
have
me
to have these
chills
abilities.
hearing you talk about that right now, because that could easily become their biggest franchise
It should be.
and their biggest IP to have ever, if they pull off a really amazing third-person experience where you're jumping between different Avengers and who knows what it's going to be
Let
like.
me say this about licensed games pre and post Arkham. It was very easy to point at them and say people are just trying to cash in. The game companies were just trying to figure out how to make money because they were tying themselves to things that people already knew. Post Arkham, there is an expectation that they're going to be incredible pieces of software, and they need to be really fulfilling, and they can be, And I feel like the video game industry sort of got this massive challenge. That's why we're seeing so much love poured onto Insomniac right now with their Spider-Man game. But there has been a kind of a shift, and I think it's got less to do with the video game industry trying to, eke out its own identity and create its own IP and to create out, things that matter just within the confines of the video game space that can butt up against this other really well-known IP, and more about the fact that there is so much good content to consume out in the world that it makes sense now to do it right and to partner with things that people are familiar with. And frankly, it's been crazy that Marvel has been out of this AAA limelight for so long.
Yeah, it's crazy that we have. I mean, there was an old, not a AAA game, but they made an Iron Man game back in the PlayStation. It's crazy that there hasn't been another Iron Man game or something that really focuses on a individual Marvel character.
They're the
other than
biggest
Spider-Man.
property on Earth.
It
right
is,
now.
it is, and-
Marvel is the biggest thing on planet Earth that attracts more people than any other piece of entertainment.
But we, at the same time, we know that it can get messed up.
Yeah.
You know why? Because we saw, not to crap on Capcom,
Yeah.
but we saw that property be used at the pinnacle of its career in Marvel
Right.
vs. Capcom Infinite, and
Right.
that game completely failed. So
Right.
they still need to put a lot of work into it. Just the Marvel name
It's not
will
that
not sell units.
It's not that the game failed, is that I think that Injustice did a better job, and that's what everybody could really point to.
It's not even that. I think just having the Capcom characters, it's a very different style of fighting.
Yeah.
game. I think they had the opportunity to really shine.
To really make it unique from 3, because 3 was so amazing.
Yes.
Right? We're talking about a totally different thing here, but it does relate, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I feel you. They had to make it a huge departure from what they succeeded with 3, and they also had to make it stand up against the Injustice 2 brand, which was so strong last year, right? And that's another example of handling this intellectual property correctly, you know? And they just didn't do it, which
which is heartbreaking. Yeah, it's heartbreaking that the fact that they got that chance, you know, at the point of the career, and they had like all the chambers were loaded, but it just showed that, you know, Capcom just wasn't ready to really handle an IP with that name, and the game bombed. It's sad that it never really even got the second DLC pass.
Yeah.
With Star-Lord and a lot of the other Avengers, but we'll get to that the other.
Did they just drop it?
They dropped it.
Oh my God.
There was Star-Lord and a lot of the other Avengers were supposed to come as DLC.
Wow.
And it was just, it's all done. So
Crazy. Okay, Pipe Dream from Sub-Zero wants a Super Mario RPG 2. That would be amazing, and the Switch would be an incredible console for something like that, right?
Now, would that be announced here? Or would that be announced at Nintendo tomorrow?
That would be announced at Nintendo. Although Ubisoft did something with Mario and Rabbids when they brought out Mario and Rabbids in their press conference.
That's true, yeah.
So that's actually a pretty cool idea there. I like that, Sub-Zero. That's pretty sweet. Okay, what do we got here? Philip Knight, thanks for the kind comments. I'd love to see some couch co-op playable games on Xbox from whoever. Square Enix aren't known for that, so I'm not holding my breath. Paul Adamson, one in the couch co-op. Miguel says greetings. Injustice has set a high bar for sure, but I think Marvel versus Capcom's problems are self-contained. Alex Stone 108. Yes. It's really hard for me not to do the Marvel versus DC thing, though, especially when the DC fighting game was so darn good. Hey, Taz, how you doing? Welcome.
Wide and early here. People are slowly rolling in.
You are the first one here, so be very loud. Okay?
Yes.
All right.
If you see Final Fantasy VII, I want you to be screaming.
Octopath looks awesome. Thorazine 666. Banjo 3. I think that's not happening because that was not one of the 50 games that was. That was not one of the 50 games that was playable at, or that was shown at the Xbox conference. Just put it on Wi-Fi. It worked.
Was it working?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, just put it on the Wi-Fi there. Okay, a Super Mario RPG 2 would be great. So you have to turn it on up at the top, you know. Okay, and Metal Gear Revengeance. I don't think that's happening at Square.
People, throughout this whole pre-shows, people have been throwing out some crazy games. Someone was asking for Twisted Metal during the Xbox press conference yesterday, and I just lost it.
You know what, though? That is indicative of the way that we have contained these IPs through these verticals that don't really, they don't register. Like, we don't, I think about this all the time because of my days with making television content and how people had to kind of profess their loyalty to a network channel on television.
Yeah.
You know, like NBC's Must See TV, and, you know, AMC names every one of their shows, the AMC Walking Dead and all that stuff. Most of us don't know where these things originate from anymore. You know, people are busy. They don't have time to kind of think of the studio behind this stuff, you know?
That's true. It's very hard to kind of understand being a hardcore gamer and talking to people in the industry.
Yeah.
That there are, obviously, we're only part of that 1%.
Yeah.
You know, we're part of that really hardcore that understands the roots of these franchises.
Yes.
But everyone else, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Where it's just they don't care and
Well,
they don't know where everything roots from.
And honestly, I mean, we keep talking about this Netflix difference and this change that we're about to have, and that's what you can point at. Netflix doesn't care where their stuff comes from.
Yeah.
Right? And we don't care as consumers where they got their stuff from. We just see all these different actors and brands, and, you know, it's like click. And I think games are going to get to that, you know? So, you know, like the future Netflix of video games will have Metal Gear Revengeance in their press conference next to Final Fantasy 18 or whatever, you know? It's going to be right there.
Metal Gear Revengeance remastered.
Yeah. Somebody brought up a Deus Ex remastered, which would be great. I would love to play those games on the
Now,
Switch,
that's a
actually.
franchise I actually had written down here.
Yeah.
Is you know, what do you
That was
hope
Nick
to,
Pope.
What do you hope to see? You know, like Deus Ex obviously didn't do very well. Was it Human Revolution? Was the
The first one did well. The second one, I think.
Mankind Divided was the first one, right?
Yes, Mankind Divided, first one. Human Revolution
Was the second?
That's kind of a problem right there because those brands are easy to sort of switch around. They need to be a little stronger with the way that they define their individual projects.
But I don't think that was their downfall. I think their downfall was the terrible publicity. They had the microtransactions early on, and that was not a good time and space to be kind of dabbling in that area. And the fact that people who had early copies were writing stories about all this, it really hurt the game.
Tasty Crayon says, and he called us out right away, Human Revolution was the first one of the new ones. Okay, yeah, see, that's... the fact that we have to question, that's an issue with the branding there, and I think that's part of it too, right?
Yeah.
Like you walk into a store, it's like, have I played that one before, right? And we don't want that. And honestly, that was one of the issues with the game, is that it did look very similar to the last gen version of Deus Ex, and some of the combat in the second game just didn't elevate enough from the first game.
I think you're right. Yeah.
But it was cool, and that franchise is awesome, and I love that game series, and I couldn't help but think of Deus Ex when I was reviewing Detroit Become Human, and how much more freedom I had in Deus Ex comparative to Detroit Become Human. So I definitely want more.
Yeah.
But Square has to work on how they define their games, and one of the things that I noticed with, I guess it's. Mankind. Now I'm questioning which one came first.
There's a whole argument going on. But that being said, I would not. Like, I don't think that we're gonna see any Deus Ex here.
I wouldn't say a remaster for the Switch is a possibility.
Okay, that's understandable. But I'm saying a new title, a third one in this new series.
That's not happening yet.
Because I feel like Cyberpunk's taking up that space too, and they're gonna really have to reinvent to probably compete with Cyberpunk. We know that CD Projekt Red, at least from what we've seen, it's not real.
Right.
I don't know if that was in game. I doubt it was.
DJ Cahill says Mankind Divided had that stupid augment your pre-order bullshit. So clearly, still carrying some hate right there. I'm sad that we're not going to get the 3DS version of Dragon Quest XI. That looked great. That's from Stefan K. That does seem silly, but I think people are trying to sort of make the choices on what machine to back. You know, and people are ready for the Switch. I think Then people are ready to partner with Nintendo on that thing.
But we saw that Hitman obviously used to be partnered with Square. They used to be their main publisher. Now they're with Warner.
Classy. That was so classy, and I respect Square so much that they worked with IO and didn't kill that brand, and even publicly acknowledge. I love Square Enix that they did this, because we see this go wrong so often in this business. It gets so petty, and so many great ideas and so much passion gets squashed. But when Square Enix says we couldn't imagine Hitman going with any other developer than IO Interactive, and then they turn around and support their community with new content for their episodic game, and then they do a deal with Warner Brothers, beautiful story, and it really makes me happy, because that team has killed themselves to build an awesome series.
Hitman 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. It's
great,
and the recent ones have been fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm extremely proud that the franchise has come back. I thought after Blood Money we were done for a while, but then we got Absolution, and like you said, it was just a classy partnership. I'm glad that the series gets to continue and that IO was able to continue doing their thing.
Sam Loden's throwing out Crash Bandicoot. He is trolling us. I think Sam Loden is Rick Astley. I think that's who he is right there. Okay.
How about new IPs? That's a huge thing that I want to see. I think even seeing Octopath, which was during the Switch press a year or two ago.
And Lost Sphere was like, they've been doing this sort of old school kind of thing around
2D sprites in a 3D
their
world.
history, yes.
And I love the fact that they're absolutely playing with that.
Yep.
And I think Thief was also published by Square at a certain point, wasn't it?
That bombed so bad when that came out. I mean, what I dig about Square Enix is that they make money in a bunch of different ways. They understand they're making a lot of money off of their mobile stuff, and they have this core contingent of an audience out there that is always going to be with them and go down the road with their RPGs.
Yeah.
And then they diversify and they try different things. I mean, and some of it is a little clumsy as they're trying to figure things out. There were a lot of expectations on how well the first Tomb Raider was going to do, and they had some pretty high kind of targets that they had to meet, and they were public about not being able to meet them, and so the future of the Tomb Raider thing felt like that was in jeopardy for a while. And then it's not. And then we get an awesome sequel, and then we get a movie, and now we've got the third
I
one.
can't believe that we got a
Yeah,
movie
you
out
know?
of that franchise. But that's success for them, right? I guess the numbers were high enough, and that's.
I
yeah,
can't
love
believe we're
that-
getting Just Cause 4 this year.
I know, that's
right? That's what we
crazy.
were talking about
I don't even
yesterday.
know, like,
Yeah.
how well did the third one sell? I usually, I keep in touch with a lot of stuff in VG charts, but Just Cause 3 was not a game I was tracking.
Yes.
I know it was great. I know it was a lot of fun. Had some DLC attached to it.
Yeah.
But that's just overall. You mentioning a lot of these franchises right now just makes me think. Square takes a lot of risks.
They do.
and they, bring out a lot of new IPs and bring out franchises that sure aren't selling in the mainstream, but they still have their niche audiences, and they do a good job really making their markets happy.
Yeah.
And I love them for that.
Yeah,
And
me
I think
too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, me too. And I think that there was a period of sort of the technological sort of change happening, and sort of expectations and a lot of attention was kind of shifted over to the American or the North American model for how RPGs get made and sort of story-based narrative games get made. But I think we're through that, and now in the last few years we've seen so much incredible work from Japanese studios, and Square Enix has been a part of that. There are a lot of detractors about Final Fantasy 15, but I thought that game was incredible, and it was an all the kitchen sink kind of experience. Like everything was in that title.
Yeah, I love that you bring
Yeah.
that up because that was actually a huge trend. I feel like that back in 2007, 2008, I mean, there was even a lot of Japanese game developers who admitted that Western RPGs and Western game making
Yes.
had well surpassed Japanese making. And I think that competition was kind of good.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of Japanese players kind of came forward. Thank you, Blake. So I
Blake
think a
is
lot
so
of-
polite.
I know.
He is such a pro, and he is so polite. He doesn't want to interrupt us as we're rambling on, even though you're having trouble hearing us. But it's like, it's all good. But
Listen, Blake.
but
I know Blake
he's got
is
his eyes
polite
and ears on us.
because he is not. he is not timing out people who are asking for Twisted Metal in an Xbox press conference.
Oh no,
no, we don't do that here.
they're having fun. Have developers completely given up on VR? This is from Hiro Bogdanovich.
I love that he brings that up. We talked about that yesterday.
Bethesda sure hasn't, although they didn't show their games, and they
show their
didn't
games.
spend any time on stage like really hyping them up. And the way that they offered us to play the games in VR is, if you want them, you got them. You can check them out. But
There
wasn't the
excitement, yeah.
last year it was like, we have 3 awesome VR games.
Yeah.
You dedicate an hour, you're gonna love it. Come on down. And I'll tell you something about those. And I'm being straight up, 100% honest. You guys know I love VR. I'm not going to play VR in public because I'm not going to screw up my hair for the whole day, because I got to go on camera and do that stuff.
Hair is too precious.
Well, it's like this. You know how much hairspray it
There
takes to
is-
get
it's
every
true.
one of these things up?
Yeah,
It's
individual
happening.
spikes have
Yes.
to be checked. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I didn't do that. So, but Blake generously last year said, "Look, I will take this for the team. I want to check these out." Also, he was very
Blake,
curious.
MVP.
So he played all 3 of the Bethesda games. Bang, bang, bang.
Did he
And-
throw up?
No, that was it for him for the day, though.
Oh,
he
okay.
he couldn't pick up the camera again after that. He was like, "Can I? What other interviews do we got to do?
Are there any more cashews over there in the Square booth? Are there?
Can I go?" And that was it for Blake.
Blake's gonna
And
shut
so-
off the stream. He's gonna mute our microphone.
But that was more of a sign for VR, man.
But you know what it is
Yeah.
about VR. To be fair, you have to be a lot of people in VR, subreddits and forums. They always talk about you kind of got to get your feet wet. It kind of takes time to get your mind trained for VR. So there's.
Blake had been through the ringer. We had VR set up in the studio, but I think
was he playing it regularly though? We went through a phase of playing with a Vive. I remember that.
It was pretty regular. I think there were 2 things in the factor there, and this happens with ready to release software. Is the frame rates aren't always perfect. They're still fixing things, so it is a little bit of a thing to put on the headset and sort of get into VR space that's not quite finished yet. That's
Yeah,
like, oh, okay. And then there were 3 completely different types of. It was Skyrim and it was Doom and. On 3 different headsets, yeah. There was an Oculus thing, and no, there was just 2 different. Yeah, so it was a Vive thing and it was a PlayStation VR thing, but the experiences were totally different. So long answer is VR nobody has given up on it, but definitely people are being a little less bullish about spending lots of money on it. But that's okay because there was a lot of, Wii caliber shovelware being pushed out onto it. And every time I'd go into every one of the stores, I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to play that. I don't want to play push the stick around,
It breaks my heart though, because I think VR is still so amazing, and
yes,
it kind of reminds me of like when the Vita was launched, where it was just kind of like, this is this amazing thing, this portable handheld, most powerful handheld you guys have ever played on. And then like the next year, and as each year went on, people talked about it so much less.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't even know if Sony's gonna showcase. I mean, like, they're not going to be seeming as excited about VR. I think we'll see a VR sizzle reel and some new titles that are coming.
Yes.
But I don't think anyone's going to go on stage and be like, look at this amazing new VR title that you guys need to get. It's a AAA VR title.
Yeah. There's a shooter coming for the PlayStation VR. I forget the name of it. That looks pretty darn cool. Code Alpha or something like that. And then the Creed boxing game looks like it's going to be fun and sweaty.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe I'll play some of that. We'll set it all up in the studio and play some of that. But I got a great question from Faramer, and I didn't know this, but did you guys see what the CD Projekt Red team did? They gave out Witcher 3 codes during the Xbox reveal of Cyberpunk 2077. So I'm sure in all that code that was up on screen, there was Witcher 3 codes in there.
Oh my God.
Bravo to CD Projekt Red. That is amazing. And
That's
the other cool thing that happened is that Alexa showcased sort of a jokey video that was in the middle of Todd Howard's monologue yesterday. It was
That was
kind of a
great.
monologue, wasn't it?
It was a little skit.
That's real. That's a real game.
Really?
You can play that.
Oh my God.
Greg Miller posted a video of him playing the game on his Alexa, and other people are posting I don't know if it's like just people have specific codes to do it, but they built the damn game.
Todd he didn't even mention that was a real thing. I thought they were completely trolling.
It's probably not a huge thing, but it's just
Does
so
Google
funny.
Home afford
That's
it?
all
Have
so
that?
good.
I have a Google Home. I don't have a.
Tyler Fisher said, I knew Twisted Metal was PlayStation exclusive. I just wanted an EP to take on the future of the series. Nothing to do with, get a take on the future of the Twisted Metal series. I would love to see.
Oh, I love Twisted Metal. You
Yeah, it was
kidding me? I
great.
think Twisted Metal is fantastic. I feel like the third one just too gaming. I think
Yes.
it was just the controls were too crazy to get used to. Once you got used to them, it was a great game.
Yes, the Twisted Metal Black.
No, not Black. I'm talking about the PS3 one. It was just called Twisted Metal.
Oh, Twisted Metal. Oh, yes, okay, yeah.
And that one, that was like, I was so excited when David Jaffe came out in the ice cream truck at the end of the presser that
Jaffe
year.
closed down his studio this year, just like Cliffy B.
yeah,
right?
but-
Jaffe should go back to Twisted Metal and do a reboot.
He should.
That would be amazing.
He should, but I
Yeah.
don't know if people are gonna, try. I think he's a talented guy. I love him.
Oh, he's amazing.
He's been doing a lot of
Yes.
live streams. If you guys follow him on Twitter, so
Yeah.
you guys can bug him over there. But Drawn Together was one of those games that he worked on that I just kind of knew was gonna fall flat.
Yeah.
I played the
Tough
beta.
year for Cliff and for David Jaffe. Yeah,
And they're both so talented.
Yeah.
I think Cliff is one of the most talented game developers.
Totally.
I think Lawbreakers.
they bleed
was-
games, man.
They do.
Yes.
Yeah. They make some amazing stuff. And I loved Lawbreakers.
Yes.
I'm one of the few people who played the hell out of it. But looks like we're getting ready here.
We are going. We've got our ESRB logo up, so let's go into the stream, everybody, and let's see what Square Enix has got for us. And we can boost that audio nice and loud. It's all good. You'll be nice and loud for us, Daz?
We will be
Yes, represent. Wave your arm.
our
Woo!
next chapter. Welcome to the Square Enix E3 Showcase 2018.
Oh, that's Keith David.
皆さんこんにちは。スクエアエニックスの松田です。スクエアエニックス E3 ショーケース2018をご視聴いただきありがとうございます。本日はスクエアエニックスが2018年度に発売を予定しているタイトルを中心にご紹介いたします。
So clean.
豪華ラインナップに加え、もちろんもお届けしますので、どうぞ最後までご視聴ください。さあ、いよいよ始まります。一緒に楽しみましょう。
Let's enjoy together. Yes, everyone. Woo!
Early in the bar.
Let the world shape our destiny,
Keith David.
or fight to become who we're meant to be.
Tomb Raider.
Starting already with a trailer.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm gonna level it!
Very Uncharted to start a trailer like that, right? Just
Yeah.
like just a desperate situation.
It's interesting, but like there might be more legacy. I mean, Tomb Raider's been around a lot longer, but Uncharted got all of the love. But there might be more consistent sort of legacy and I don't know, this series that has started here might end up becoming just as important or bigger than Uncharted.
Uncharted learned a lot from Tomb Raider.
Yep.
And then Tomb Raider learned a lot from Uncharted. It's kind of like they both got along.
Totally.
They would not continue to coexist without one.
And they all owe it to Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones. That's Spielberg, Lucas, and Ford.
Adventures of Tintin.
Uncharted is great, but too straightforward, Tyler Fisher says. I don't think they ever really...
Hi, my name
it's
is
good,
Daniel
great.
Chaibson, game director at Eidos Montreal. You have just seen the beginning of Shadow the Tomb Raider, which will deliver on Lara Croft's defining moment as she races to stop a Maya apocalypse. Lara will have to confront
said Mayan
a brutal
apocalypse way
jungle
too
environment
cheerily.
in order to survive. And even though that she's more confident and more capable, she will still be outgunned and outnumbered by Trinity. She will have to use everything she learned from the jungle and use it in order to survive. We call this becoming one with the jungle.
She
Let's
is
take a
so
look what
badass
this
in this
means
game,
for
guys.
gameplay.
Like,
Yeah.
she
I love
she
her-
knows everything now.
I love the development of her character.
But yeah, Tyler says Uncharted is great, but too straightforward. And I think the comment with that is that Uncharted, they made awesome games with 3 and 4, but I think they peaked with the concept of 2. Like 2, I still think is the best one of the series.
I agree with you.
Right?
I agree with you there.
And I think part of the thing was that they didn't go all the way with the maturity of the story. The stakes weren't.
There's only so much you would. It's almost like how we were talking about how God of War franchise was just 3.
Yeah.
With 3, they did everything they could with that
Yes.
possible with that gameplay style.
Right.
And that's why that reinvention was so great with the new one.
Yeah.
And I feel like Uncharted kind of stuck to that same formula for just a little too long.
Yep.
And it was great that they ended it with 4 because, yeah.
And
anymore.
some beautiful stuff with 4, but I don't know. Like I think the stakes are pretty impressive with Tomb Raider, even if it goes into its fantastical elements and stuff. And people really are lost to Lara Croft, and she deals with a lot of really horrible stuff. But anyways, both incredible franchises, and it's like as an indie fan for life and forever, these are 2 dream game series for me.
How the hell do I patch these together?
So cool right now.
Music Mathieu says, just saw the new Tomb Raider movie yesterday, leaves me wanting to play more of the video games. Absolutely. I think that's what it was most effective at, was being in honor of the game series. Clumsy Stupid, this is how the Rambo game should have been, totally. I know, Barcode Teacup, that it is that sort of
Can we get more light in here?
more fun, goofy sensibility of Uncharted that is also a big part of the attraction. It is a weird balance, right?
Yeah.
It's just so crazy that you kill so many
Spell me a
people and
bit.
it's
Gotta
bloodless.
take it, it's not teeth.
Yeah.
Sure. Gives me
Well,
something
there's
to do.
blood, yeah. It's not as much gore as Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
You definitely, like
Hey,
you said, feel the
you know
consequences
Maltese's access
a
code?
little bit more in this franchise.
Yeah.
01 03 53 Mike.
You also,
Hey, heading over there now.
I don't know. She's so powerful.
Some
Like
backup
you feel like Batman.
That's all Vic wants to feel like. It's always Batman.
You just do. Like once you get rocking, and with
Body here.
Drake, you feel
They can't be.
like
Find out what's going
Indiana Jones's clumsy younger brother in a way.
on. You, take point. Lead the way.
Yeah, Stephen K says the best part of Tomb Raider is sneaking around and popping guards in the head with an arrow. You're not a psycho, Stephen K. I know that. I know that about you. Bow headshots are so satisfying. Boy, if we posted this stream, people would be freaking out. Give this chat stream. Bow headshots are so
Some maniac killers here.
Barcode. Tomb Raider takes you back to playing Tomb Raider 2 on the PC. Amazing memories, right?
This looks so good. Obviously, the same, very similar to the second and first game. But
Yeah.
they're obviously adding a lot more.
They they're less about the these beautiful tombs and things,
We hope that you like what you've just seen. There's so much
and more
depth to
about
the
like
combat.
really scary,
We cannot wait to show you more.
tombs that
There's
you're
new
going
traversal
into.
techniques
And
like grappling,
thank
wall
you.
running,
You're diving.
even have full
This is
360-degree
my first
underwater
of 70
swimming,
glasses
which
of water
means
right here.
full underwater exploration and survival.
Tales from the Man Cave. I'll play
We have
TR any
also
day over an Uncharted
one of
game.
the biggest hub
That's
ever
understandable.
created in any Tomb Raider game, featuring a hidden city. And of course, we have tombs. We have more of them, and they're deadlier than ever before. But for now, we're gonna leave you with a video that will give you a taste of what to expect out of Shadow the Tomb Raider and how Lara Croft becomes the Tomb
Yeah,
Raider that
she's-
she's destined to be.
A badass. Kovalin, we have t-shirts available on teespring.com/EPNTV. I'll type it in right now, but the shipping is pretty high into Canada, so I'm trying to figure out a better solution. But I launched the store on Friday night, and it's been E3 weekend, so I haven't had time to figure out where to go yet. But if you want a shirt right now, you can go to teespring.com and get one. It's like $11 or something like that to ship it from the States. But I've reached out to Teespring to see if there's anything that they can do with that. I don't know. This is our first shirt that we've ever sold, but they turned out pretty good.
The road ahead is uncertain and fraught. with
Or if you're
danger.
in Vancouver, you can come down
We
here
stand
and
together.
pick one up right now
We
live.
are the warriors
I
of
will shake
light,
your hand.
ready for whatever new challenges and surprises.
I love that they got Keith David to be the narrator between this stuff. Okay, so we have Final Fantasy XIV Online.
Oh dear.
Tyler Fisher, good comment about the replayability of Tomb Raider. I can always replay those Uncharted games as well. And I've been hankering to replay God of War like you wouldn't believe. How do we petition to get more hours in a day?
Without
Is that possible?
expertise, our new friends will
I'd
be
like 50
hard-pressed
hours
to
a day, if
contend with
that's what-
both whom death is but a minor
Big human
inconvenience.
problem, especially from all the entertainment we have these days. Films, comics, and movies.
TV shows. Do you know how many superhero TV shows there are?
Yeah, I can't watch it.
There's no time to read superhero comics anymore. There's so many superhero TV shows. This looks great. I'm so out of the loop with Final Fantasy XIV, though. I think I played it when it first launched, and then they unlaunched it and relaunched it again. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure Tommy and I probably reviewed it back then. Actually, 2011 would have been, that sounds like a Ben and Jose time. You did, Tyler Fisher. Okay. Is this still Final Fantasy XIV?
Wait, does it sound like Monster
Oh,
Hunter?
yeah.
Why is Monster Hunter?
Oh, they have Final Fantasy characters in
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very cool.
Yes.
I was making the Monster Hunter theme in a Square conference. That's so cool. This is huge to
Yeah.
get people in. Monster
Yeah.
Hunter franchise is enormous in Japan. Wow, that's so cool.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
How long until we get a Monster Hunter MMORPG?
There's been one actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they made
In
one
Japan only, or-
in China, and then they had one only in Japan. Too.
Okay, that's coming for
Yeah.
sure. Because
Yeah,
we
they
have
never
tons of
brought them
time
to
for
North
like 50 or 60 MMOs. And next year they're going to do a Final Fantasy XIV cross Twisted Metal event, Stephen K says. Which is going to be... and then Final Fantasy Battle Royale, good one, Taz.
Oh, here you go,
Yes.
Spirit, Adventures of Captain Spirit.
Okay. This was lovely. Yay, Don't Nod.
Yeah, really good, really
To
good.
our friends in France.
Yeah.
You know, they...
I love that what you mentioned yesterday is like they just made games they want to make.
Yeah.
And they do a tremendous job.
Yeah, it's
doing
their
them,
it's
and-
their slant. They're making art. They're looking at this is the way that you make a business out of
Hi everyone, my name is Michel Kor. And my
out
name
of
is Raoul
a
Barbet.
crazy
We are
idea.
the
As
two
you look at
creative
what isn't
directors
being
of
done
Life is Strange
and you make
Content
that.
Entertainment.
and you
As
make
you
it to
may
the
know,
best
we
of
have
your
just revealed
ability,
the awesome
and that's what Don't
adventures
Nod
of Captain
does.
Spirit. It's a brand new story in the
Awesome
Life is Strange
adventures of
universe.
Captain Spirit.
And this full experience will be available to download for
I
free.
can't wait
on the
to play this.
26th of
I'll
June.
tell you something.
Life is Strange is not a single town set of characters.
The Don't
Captain
Nod
Spirit
guys, I
is
think it's the guy on the right, I forget his name,
introducing
Michelle, I
the
believe.
players to the many stories we
He
want to
gave
tell in
me
this
the
expanded
soundtrack
universe.
to Life is
Captain
Strange
Spirit is not
on
Life is
a
Strange 2,
record
but it will be
and
your
signed
first
it,
steps
and
in
it's my favorite record. It's just
People love that record.
it's
yeah,
just
the
so
soundtrack.
good. The soundtrack is incredible.
There were a lot of indie bands that they obviously collabed with for that soundtrack, and those bands blew up after Life is Strange.
Oh, that's great.
And,
hope you will enjoy
it just
it.
shows the power of video games.
Have a great history, and from all the Life is Strange
So
team
great.
at Don't
So
Nod,
proud of
thank
this
you.
team. It's
Thank
awesome.
you. Bye-bye.
Now I just need to make a
Man, this
cool
puts
costume
chills
for
down my spine when I
Captain
see
Spirit.
art like this get made, you know? Love it.
This kid's got more blasters than Mega Man. Look at this.
Avengers crossover confirmed.
He's got the Infinity Gauntlet. 100%
Someone is
free.
asking my game of shows so far. That's
Wow, this is soon? It's coming
Hypnotic.
out.
Yeah. And it's just the first. It's just the first episode, correct? Here's
think so.
Dragon Quest 11 here.
They didn't mention it, but I was gonna guess.
best
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
In our darkest hour.
Captain
John-
Spirit
John
is Thanos confirmed.
John is back at home, probably crying right now for Dragon Quest with his little slime plushies.
He's got a box of Kleenex.
Followed
Yeah.
you since birth.
So they had this playable at the pre-E3 event last month, and it was great. Like I totally got lost in it, and they kept coming over to me and saying, you know, the missions over that way. You shouldn't be walking a million. I was just because they had the whole game, so I was like, I just want to go and walk everywhere and see what it is. It's beautiful.
So this looks like Dragon Quest 11 to me right now.
This is it, isn't it?
I think this is it.
Yeah, this is 11. I recognize that haircut.
Yeah.
I had to impersonate a prince and get into this horse race, and it was fun. Very accessible. Blabler says Dragon Quest 11. Johnny is jumping for joy somewhere. My game of show so far.
Battletoads, of course.
No, not Battletoads. Super psyched for Horizon 4. Although I think I like the Australia setting a little more than the classic Britain setting.
I agree with you. Yeah, the Britain didn't capture me as much.
I mean, it's going to be lovely, but I think the Australia one was so unique, you know? We didn't see anything on Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6. I'm intrigued by 76, by Fallout 76. Didn't get any gameplay on Doom 2, but I'm very excited about that.
I think Gears of War for me so far.
Gears 5, yeah. If I'm thinking of the thing that I'm just like cannot wait to play, but Gears Tactics also really surprised me and looks cool. Devil May Cry 4 or Devil May Cry 5, I'm really psyched for. I just got a little confused there because Blake's ordered his daily portion of yam fries. He's ready to go. Those look delicious. Yam fries. This place does yam fries right.
Release date?
Sub-Zero Star Wars Fallen Order is my game of show.
Bold luminary, we swear to protect you. While we live, none shall defeat you. Yep. We're all in this together.
Show us what you've got.
Let's do this.
Lead on, darling.
There were some frame rate issues with the Japanese release of this game on Switch, but I'm sure they've been looked at and corrected as much as possible.
Was that September?
September 4th.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've been cranking
So
to make
with-
it super cool.
Look at all this pre-order.
This is the PS4. Did they announce for sure that it's coming out in the US? What is this? This is a on the Switch. Metro Exodus is pretty rad.
PS4 and Steam for this.
Did they kill the Switch game in the States? I thought it was still coming to
It might
North
been,
America.
but we haven't seen it yet.
Very much Clay Graphic 1, and PlayStations as well. RJ Baldwin, Rage 2 is surprisingly my game of the show so far. Rage 2 looked incredible too.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. Oh, and Cyberpunk.
RJ's
honestly, it's Cyberpunk. If I'm just like
That's
pushing
true.
everything aside, Cyberpunk 2077. That's the thing for me right now.
I just keep forgetting about that because it was such a cinematic.
It wasn't gameplay.
Yeah, it was such a cinematic trailer. It was very hard to judge.
Yes.
But I'm sure it's gonna be such a fantastic team, right?
Totally. So I started thinking about Cyberpunk. I have no idea what this is. What is this?
Because too busy talking about Twisted Metal with you guys.
Asking me about what's my favorite game of the show. I've seen 75 games in 2 days. It's like. Oh yes, Farmer says say the release dates. Dragon Quest XI comes out September 4th.
September 4th.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'd be so funny if they dropped their swords and just went in for a hug. And totally changed the game around.
Babylon's Fall.
That's cool. That's a surprise. That's out of nowhere.
It's a new...
And then they dropped the Final Fantasy logo right on top. By Platinum. Woo! Okay, that's in my list of things I'm most excited for right there. That's awesome.
That's awesome, yeah. It's hard to really get a lot out of it.
Yeah,
that
it was
trailer.
just a cinematic trailer. Yeah.
But still very cool.
Yes.
This is the type of stuff I love. Like we were talking about earlier, Square takes risks.
Yep. I love that Platinum is blowing up. Like they're working with lots of people. They lost that Scalebound thing, and then everybody went, "We'll work with you."
This is
huge. New Nier.
Okay.
Oh, this is coming Xbox. This is out like next week. Sony's conference starts, I think, at 6:30 tonight, and we'll have the pre-show about a half an hour before then. So we'll be live talking with you guys.
Nier Become a God edition, I think.
Yeah. I want to play this on the X.
What a success this game was.
Awesome game.
Came out of nowhere, really,
Yeah.
and just
Another Platinum game, too. Just so good.
Glory to mankind.
So good. What a great developer. Corey Reed, no crowd. This is all a video. And so they're streaming it out there. It's kind of what the Nintendo Direct is.
Yeah.
I think we're going to start to see a lot more like that as well, honestly.
which is sad. I really love the
live vibe is great, yeah.
Switch. Socto, yeah, this is Octopath Traveler.
Is it exclusive on the Switch?
It is, so far.
Okay.
So far, that's what I know.
Cleric, scholar, merchant, warrior.
Would not be surprised though if it's a big hit.
Oh,
How beautiful this
it'll
game
be on Steam for sure.
Step into their shoes.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And explore the realm of Orstera.
Like, I doubt it's a huge team working on this game.
Yeah.
Whose path
July 13th.
I mean, I think people are recognizing, because the nostalgic streak in the video game industry is very strong, and when you play some of those classic games, they hold up way better than early polygonal stuff. And there's so much value in that sort of old school hand-drawn art. That's why the retro vibe is still so powerful today. Here's Just Cause 4. This is a massive conference already, right? Boom, 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 boom. Here's another game.
Well, I think this is the future of all E3 conferences we were talking about. It's just it's less talking, although the talking is nice a little bit once in a while for like Todd Howard to clear things up.
Yep.
But just we have to go game after game and just keep it going.
We do, but we're also losing sight of the people that make these things.
Exactly.
And I think that's a problem. Like we can't just have it be Todd Howard as the only developer we know of from E3.
I agree.
Right?
I do enjoy a moderation of the talking.
Yes.
Just when it drags on and there's
like
these
who is
fake
the
conversations happening, I'm not a fan of it.
Me neither. You can't script it but who is the shepherd of the what's his name? Rico something, I forget the guy, the lead character's name. This guy of Just Cause 4.
I forgot.
Rico Rodriguez or something like that.
Yeah.
Who is the shepherd of his lore?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Someone's in charge of making sure that there is some cohesion with the storytelling in these crazy games. I don't know who that is. I kind of wouldn't mind knowing that there's a Kevin Feige for the Just Cause franchise. If they're gonna make one every 2 years, like who's guiding this for us?
Awesome forked lightning, unpredictable and deadly sandstorms, and roaring blizzards. Witness the spectacular destruction as they offer both the
Sam.
challenge to Rika.
What do we say, guys? What do we get?
He's Todd Howard is a god with a child's voice. You would not say that to Todd Howard if you met Todd Howard. He's a wonderful dude.
He's a god with a child's voice.
Blade Blur, why should we buy this game? Just cause.
Oh, man.
Well, Blade
Blade
Blur says that. Yeah, I'm here till Thursday.
Rico's grapple is now fully customizable and has been overhauled to make it more intuitive for newcomers.
This looks so fun, but I don't know how.
The grapple now has more tethers than ever before.
I mean, this is, I guess, the litmus test, right? They're gonna launch it. They're gonna see how it does. This might be massive.
Meanwhile, a new story glues together our free-form, go-anywhere, do-anything gameplay that Just Cause is so
Blade Blur, I
famous
would
for.
say that it's less of them remaking and redoing. It's more diving deeper into what they're familiar with to get more out of those experiences, which isn't a bad thing. But they do have to be distinct from the previous games. That's the big challenge, right? I hope every review that I read or see of this game is, this plays just like Just Cause 3.
Everything you've seen, from the incredible physicalized destruction to unparalleled draw distance, is powered by the brand new best-in-class
They do have an amazing engine.
open-world Apex engine.
Kevgrat says story is always the weakest part of the Just Cause franchise. It's when you throw in the humor and everything's just a big joke. I say this all the time in my reviews. It's so hard to care, right? Because the game's almost being snarky and laughing at you that you do have any concerns about it, because it's all about jokes. And that's a very tricky thing to balance. Like the same thing with the South Park games.
Yeah, well, it's hard to just how crazy the universe is to really take it seriously.
But those things are, you know, unbelievably replayable and fun and filled, like the Just Cause games.
Oh yeah,
and
they're highlight reel of the game.
Totally, right. And Just Cause 2 was such a huge Twitch and YouTube sensation that really funneled development on 3, and clearly 3 had that impact too. What is this game? Amazing graphics.
Yo! Wrong address, dog! No one ordered no chow! Way back there!
Johnny McFly co-op mode in Just Cause would be nice. They might have that. What is this? Is he a superhero? That's pretty cool.
Quiet man.
Ah, so he is hard of hearing? Might be mute. The Quiet Man.
That's really cool.
That looked great. Thanks for the surprises there, Square Enix. Bravo!
For every night, there is a dawn. For every question,
Good question, Mr. Henry. Why these main characters look the same?
Oh, here comes Kingdom Hearts.
Yes. I'm not a cynical guy, but I have played a million things in my life. And I like the Kingdom Hearts games, but they haven't aged particularly well. So I was looking forward to this, but I was kind of expecting to be a bit disappointed. Then I played it at the pre-E3 thing, and I was smiling like a little baby. I was just like, this is so damn charming and so beautiful and so much a love letter to Disney. And of course I've had a kid since the last Kingdom Hearts games came out. And so I'm in Disney World, like literally and figuratively all the damn time. So it's a totally different perspective now to play a Disney-themed game. I was just at Disneyland. I went to Disneyland after I played Kingdom Hearts the next day, actually. And so
It works.
Yeah, it totally fits. But I would know if and get it if you have exhaustion from it, or if there's been too many Kingdom Hearts releases. But this is beautiful.
There's been a lot of spin-off games, and we got to remember that this is, in terms of like a real main series title, this is a much bigger gap between 2 and 3 than it was from 1 and 2.
Yes.
And I think they had time to polish it out. I think a big weakness for the franchise was just the convoluted story.
Yeah.
They just got
it's
way
crazy.
too crazy to follow everything. Even like, I talked to some pretty hardcore Kingdom Hearts fans who love the franchise, and they tell you, it's a complete mess. Like, like you'll have a hard time following through with everything. So I hope this game is a lot more streamlined. I know, this looks fantastic.
It's like lots of gameplay choices and lots of homages, and
that's why I think
that's going to be huge.
I think so too.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait, and my kid is gonna freak. She has no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
I honestly hope that they do a remaster kind of take, like the Shadow of the Colossus on the first two.
On the first, a remake. More of a
remake.
They already have a remaster.
Yeah, like a remake. I would love that, right? With this scale of production, but easier said than done.
Yeah.
Look out!
Yeah, that would.
My wife and I are just very glad Aqua is back. She's so awesome on Arrow. I don't know what that means. I don't know who Aqua is in Arrow. My wife is dying to play this, Kev Brett. My daughter would love this, Johnny McFly. Yeah. Oasis Beyond. Kingdom Hearts is the only JRPG I ever beat.
Nothing would please us more.
It's much. Hypnotic says, "Is this even an RPG?" It looks like a much more action. It is an RPG, but it's absolutely friendly for Twitch play, like Twitch type game, not Twitch streaming, but Twitch gaming, action gaming.
Just quick and respond. I mean, that's most of Square's RPGs.
Oh, Willis
now.
something, right? Okay. Tyler Fisher, I get you. Arrow's sister, Willa Holland.
You're too late.
The voice acting is good, R.J. Baldwin. What's a little odd, but kind of fitting because it's a Japanese developer's take on this world, right? And so, just like with Don't Nod, it's a French developer's take on a sort of Americana. There is a little bit of a disconnect, and it can be a little, it take you out a little bit, but can also be super charming. And so I found that to be both cases when I was playing the game. It's like, it doesn't sound exactly like Woody and Buzz, but I like that it's being interpreted, And the gameplay will charm the hell out of you.
Well, it looks like that's about it. They're doing their sizzle reel.
There's a 3-hour game with Aqua that uses the same engine as 3. Okay. Is that it?
That's
it.
Okay,
it's a short one.
Thanks for joining the Square Enix E3 Showcase
10:30?
2018.
It was half an hour,
Yeah, I guess so. All right, so that was it. What were you most impressed with?
Should we do a little breakdown? I mean,
Just Cause 4.
Like we
Twisted Metal.
expected, no real surprises.
Yes.
It's either that or they had an agreement with Sony. Like Sony's like, we got to get FF7 in our press conference. Right. Obviously,
we're going to see Avengers tonight.
You think we're going to see Avengers and Sony?
Yes.
Really?
100%.
Okay, this is the big prediction because obviously there were a few titles that were, and one of them being Babylon's Fall, the other one being The Quiet Man. Those were the two.
Great.
Yeah,
they both look great.
They both look really cool.
I don't know who's making The Quiet Man. Anybody know who's making The Quiet Man?
Yeah,
Taz, you know who's making The Quiet Man? No? All right.
Taz is the quiet man right now, right? He's back there because I didn't hear him scream once in the background. But really, kind of straightforward. I don't even consider this a press conference. This felt like a trailer sizzle reel to me.
Yes.
There were a few in the beginning, a few interviews with developers that were pretty cool.
How many games all told?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 games.
That's pretty good. In 30 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, they were quick. They're boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Obviously, we can go off the top. We'll just break it down. Obviously, they started off the show with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Brought one of the developers on there, which was nice to just see a developer's face.
Yep.
It was kind of a gameplay trailer. Then they ended off with a sizzle reel. But I love the gameplay that they showed. I love that there was like a 2 to 3 minute segment of showing some sneaking action.
Not shocking, but
not shocking. Yeah, nothing.
But we are hankering for that experience.
Yeah.
Right? They haven't been a letdown yet, and I don't expect Shadow of the Tomb Raider is going to be a letdown either. I think
And
it's going to be a
coming
blast.
out
Soon. It's coming
September
up.
14th, 2018.
And also a surprise announcement about that was tied really with the ramp up to the movie is basically they were saying, yeah, there is a Tomb Raider game coming this year and you're going to be playing it sooner than you expect. And it's true because we don't normally find out about these things the year they're launched. And I thought it was going to be kind of a smaller scale kind of spec and maybe even tied to the movie. The fact that we're getting a sequel to these massive Tomb Raider experiences with current gen and all the 4K stuff, I'm excited as hell. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think it's just showing that the series is successful. There's fans out there. It was clear with a lot of you guys in the chat were talking about, hey, I prefer Tomb Raider well over Uncharted.
Yes.
And that's pretty huge. Uncharted was a franchise that sold, 3-4 million copies at least.
On one platform.
Yes. That was an exclusive system.
Yeah.
So that's huge. After that, something we also expected, they showed off some of Final Fantasy 14, Stormblood, and I think the expansion was called Under the Moonlight. The coolest thing out of that I got out of that was the Monster Hunter collaboration. I think that's really big.
What are those dinosaurs called? Or the
There's
dragons?
Rathalos, wyverns.
Wyverns, right?
Yeah. And then so it's cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal for a lot of you guys who are not in
Is
that
it
world.
cool enough for you to go and start an account in Final Fantasy 14?
Depending on what the subscription cost is, because I have no idea what it is.
Right.
I'm not a big MMO guy.
Yeah.
But I would definitely be enough. If they ever have a free weekend or something, I would definitely check it out.
Okay. All right.
It's enough for me.
Okay.
And I think it's enough for a lot of people in Asia as well.
Yeah.
After that, another amazing looking game, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit.
Love it.
June 26th.
Yeah. Don't know what the gameplay is. It kind of felt like that was like cutscenes of the kid becoming a superhero.
I think we can expect similar to Life is Strange.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a bit of
It's in
walking
the
around
universe.
in a confined space. I think you'll probably be running around the house and
Yeah.
grabbing little gadgets and shooting things in your imagination. And I'm
Yeah.
sure there'll be a deeper meaning to it than it looks in the trailers. I know a lot of people are looking like, I don't want to play as a little kid.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that game's going to have some deep, root meanings that, it'll get into later on. But overall, really proud of that team. And I'm happy they have a new franchise beside Life is Strange.
Me too. Yeah. It is part of the extended universe.
It's extended universe, but it is a new. I would still consider this a new IP.
And one of my regrets is that I didn't review Life is Strange when it first came out, so I feel a little out of the loop. So this feels like my entry point to it. So
it's totally a franchise you would love.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, we had some Dragon Quest XI. Obviously, this game has been out in Japan for a while.
Yep.
A lot of you guys were talking about that it had some frame rate issues. I'm sure this is going to be a bit of a remaster as well. They probably are going to fix up and patch up a lot of the stuff in there. Can't wait for that. I'm sure a lot of North American fans can't wait. That's September 4th, 2018. So a lot of September releases here for Square. After that, a new IP, Babylon's Fall.
Yep. That's a 2019 game.
Yep.
It's a platinum game. I'm in.
Yeah, just all Vic needed to see was the Platinum Games logo. And I love how they showed that afterwards, actually.
Yeah.
It didn't start off with the developer, like most trailers do.
Yes.
It actually just
It's like,
ended up with
pay
that.
attention. And what is interesting is that as we know the names of who makes these games less and less, games like Platinum become more and more important.
You're right.
Right? Because we aren't really aware of the development world as much as we should be. And I think that's and this is my statement to the video game industry in general. That if we don't know who's making these things, you are doing your future a disservice. We need to know these people and these companies so that we can attach some value to this. It's not just about game brands, because the minute you start to have brands that don't, meet the expectations of these things, you're tarnishing that thing for a long time. You're tarnishing that expectation around that brand for a long time. It's not just that one release, it's the ripple effect after. But if you build awareness for these companies and these people, you can do something like come up with a brand new thing like Babylon's Fall, and it's like no one knows that, but you throw the Platinum Game logo at the end and we all are suddenly interested.
Yeah.
But there should be that story times 50.
Yeah, we should know the developers. And one thing I was talking to you about earlier too was I was mentioning how, 2 years ago I remember you interviewed Cory Barlog.
Yeah.
And nobody knew who he was. Only if you were real into the industry like yourself and a few other journalists, but most of the mainstream or the casual E3 viewers didn't.
Yeah.
And he was still just kind of this hardworking game developer trying to bring back the God of War franchise. And now you can go on his Twitter, and that man is a celebrity. Everyone is taking pictures with him.
Yeah.
Like he is walking around just enjoying the E3, and that's amazing because I think that more people should know a lot of the faces behind the games. And it sucks that a lot of these developers can go 50 years being a game developer to finally get noticed because at E3 they finally let them speak a little bit, you know? So that's why I think
That's why I built EP, guys, you know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't always easy to get access to these people.
Yeah.
But once they trusted us and once we did and we put them on television and we put them in front of the camera, they liked it.
Yeah.
And people have come away kind of respecting the way that we have kind of honored the artistry and the creativity in the industry. And I think it's incredibly important. And it's not just to sell the games, it's to inspire the future generations of people.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And they look at that and they go, well, that seems like a cool job, and it feels like that's very creative, and I like what that human being is coming up with to, you know, connect with the world, and that's what it's about, right?
You get to jump into their life.
Yes.
And that's why E3 live press conferences can never go away, in my opinion.
right.
I feel like they still kind of need to be there. After Babylon's Fall.
And honestly, when you stack up, this was a pretty impressive collection of games, but I don't think it was as impressive a press conference as Bethesda's, even if I like some of these games more than Bethesda's choices of games. And one of the key reasons is because we did get some access to developers, and we did get some time. Some of it was a little clunky, like when Tim and Magnus were on stage at the same time, but also it was some of it was quite wonderful, and the opening video even that Bethesda did was that is a lesson for the rest of the community. That is a lesson, and you know, frankly, I would love Nintendo to do more of that kind of stuff. I wish Nintendo was less of this, you know, oblique kind of like what happens there kind of mystery. I wish that they would reveal a little more.
It's not about only the game reveals, it's about the celebration, I think, for a lot of these teams. It's celebrating not only their games, but their teams. You know, I'm sure for a lot of these people, there's a reason why Bethesda has like little parties after the conferences. You know, it's
everybody that's watching this right now gets that. You guys are all on the same page with us. That's why you're fans of EP. That's why you've been watching us on television and you watch all of this stuff. And I think it's incumbent on us to, you know, when we talk about games, when we are because in our worlds, probably we are the experts in this space, right? And so when you're in your circles, do your best to kind of convey a little bit more about where these things come from and who makes them, and get people to talk about this. I think that's what we kind of have to do to kind of furnish more love for this medium, you know? And I think the business does a poor job with that. I really do. They've really let marketing drive all of the decisions on the stories and the messages around this stuff, and they just want to sell games. And I think it's left a lot of unhappy customers and a lot of unhappy developers, you know? And still, games are getting sold and the industry is enormous, but, you know, somebody made the comment here, I think it was Tyler, that we wouldn't, things wouldn't be, it was Mondo Blasto, things wouldn't be the same for his movies if you didn't know they were made by Steven Spielberg, right? Like, it matters.
It does. It totally matters.
It matters not just in games, by the way. This matters in comics, and it matters in music, and it matters in TV shows, and it matters everywhere. It matters that we know the people before the products. Anyways, rant over.
All right. After Babylon's Fall, they showed off Nier Become a God Edition. This is obviously coming to Xbox. It's a debut on Xbox. That's coming out on June 26th.
I will see all of you Xboxers online with that game when that comes out.
That's right. Yeah, it has a very cool online component that I will not reveal.
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler. Also a really big title for them. That's July 13th, 2018. That was a game that definitely blew a lot of people's minds when it was shown first during the E3. I think direct for the Switch, and it's just gorgeous game. It seems like it's a Switch exclusive so far, but like you said, it's probably going to make its way to other things in the future.
I mean, it'll be on Steam for sure. You can count on that, but that does look really cool. I can't wait for that game.
Another title that was announced during the Xbox presser, Just Cause 4, the trailer and gameplay. That's December 4th this year, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I still can't get that over my head that game is coming out this year. It feels like I just played the third one.
It does feel like there's a bit of a Just Cause factory happening, right?
And like, you know, it's cool.
The next game's coming down the conveyor belt.
I'm glad that Square believes enough in their teams and their products to keep releasing these games, because you know, there was a huge gap between Just Cause 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Right, for that to happen.
Yes.
It was essentially, like you said, the modding community and that niche following that really made it happen.
2 years is better than 1 year.
Yes.
Right? Or has it been 3 years even? I can't remember when Just Cause 3 came out.
It's actually been about 2 to 3 years. It's been a while. It probably has not felt like a long time because we've been playing.
2015? Okay, so 3 years, that's great. I mean, if they were doing that every year, that would be like, okay. Yes, that's right. That's why it's been in our mind a lot,
It
right?
has, yeah.
And they went crazy. They had the land, sea, and air expansions.
They did. And
They did
it's free
everything
on,
in
it's
3.
free on PS Plus, I think.
Yes.
Actually, I think about
Yes.
last year sometime. So very cool. Another game that was another new IP that looked very cool. You know, you were excited for this one. It's called The Quiet Man.
Yep.
Really awesome because it looked like a action, kind of like a God Hand.
Totally.
Sort of beat 'em up / fighter. Looks very, very cool. That's apparently going to come.
I'm missing these brawlers too, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a simple, sort of dumbed down sort of game, and we had so many of them that they, like, if you do more than one, it's like, that's enough. But, you know, I'm missing that kind of, like, Streets of Rage, because, you know, the Sega Genesis thing just happened, and then Xbox had Streets of Rage 1 through 3 for free. I don't know if you picked those up. On Xbox Live Arcade.
I remember.
They're incredible games. They're so fun. Like, they're so, like, I'm playing Shaq Fu, and it's, like, so stupid, but it's like, well, this is fun.
But you know what it
but
is,
I'm missing a great one, and this could be one.
This
you
could
know?
be one.
Yeah.
The reason why I think that genre died was I think people now are expecting more progression from their games.
Yeah.
They're expecting more reward. It's very hard to keep a lot of people's interests right now by just learning 10 combos
I know.
and then just doing them over and over again.
Yes.
So, but I still think
fighting duplicate versions of the same model character.
exactly. But I still think that there's a huge space to really take over in that genre. I think that beat 'em ups totally have an area to cover. We just need to expand on them more, make them feel more rewarding and more satisfying. I just feel like, yeah, the formula just needs to be shifted a little bit. And I think just the way gamers think, there's a reason why when you shoot someone on Call of Duty, you see plus 10 points or like plus this. Everything you get rewarded for, right? Like you heal an enemy in Battlefield, you'll see numbers pop up.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Good job, you're doing well.
That's a huge part of games.
That's a huge part of games, and that's what beat 'em ups I think are missing.
Right.
And
you need to have that visual stimulation, like the constant connection. Hypnotic has a good comment based on some of the ranting that I just did around developers saying I couldn't help but feel like that every presenter at the EA conference was just a suit. I think that's a generalization because I think they had some pretty amazing developers up on stage, but I get what you're saying. You know, they are definitely a economics class first in a way, right? Like, how do you become a huge, successful behemoth company? Let's celebrate that before games. And they need to flip that narrative around a little bit.
And it sucks because when they have taken the risk and put some other people like influencers and developers, I think developers is the best people to put on stage. There have been a lot of weird moments where, they're just not comfortable on stage. But on the flip side, when they've taken that risk, like we saw like last year's Ubisoft conference, we're going to get to Ubisoft later today. That's the next conference. We saw a fantastic conference last year. Like, it was amazing. There was so much heart there. And sure, I wasn't even necessarily excited for the individual games and the things they showed, but I felt so attached to that whole team and that whole brand. I thought that was just extraordinary. And I would love to see if they're going to be able to match that
Bethesda
this year.
picked up that baton, I think, with what they did
a little
to
bit.
start off with theirs.
Not as much. Not as much.
Not as much. I still don't know, and I should have checked into this, but if that was the person that mans the front desk at Bethesda that narrated everything, because if they did, that was just profound. That was just amazing. What the heck? There was a comment. Oh, the Devolver. Hypnotic says, "What did you think of the game? Did you watch the Devolver?"
I watched it last night.
Too.
It was the
I
craziest
think we're
thing.
addicted to press conferences. If you put on a press conference, we will watch it. You just send us the link. We'll watch it. We'll comment on it. I'll call Behr. Dude, what do you think?
I was actually passing out, and my
me
girlfriend
too.
was like, "Devolver's on, Devolver's on." Because
Yes.
we're big fans of a lot of Devolver games. Like
Yes.
Enter the Gungeon was like probably one of my favorite games.
I love
of 2016.
Devolver.
They're so good.
I love that company. What was it? The Mimic or something? What the hell? The black and white game? What's it called?
You're talking
Flip,
about. Hold on, I know. Hold on. I have this game.
It's so good. It needs to come to the Switch. It's like one of my favorite games of the year, but it's so small and so
Don't
weird.
look at the chat. I know this because I have it on my Vita.
No, it's going to be on the chat.
It's a jumping one, right?
No, it's like the Zelda one. Minute.
Okay,
Have you played this
the right
thing?
I've not played Minute. I've not played Minute. Wait, I'm thinking
Minute
of.
is incredible. It's such an incredible game. And SOS looked badass. You were right, Lucas42. But Devolver's showcase was crazy.
Yeah.
But I did like there was the dancing shooting game. I forget what that was called. I don't know what any of them are
Yeah,
called.
they looked really cool.
Scum
that one was like the banana one, right?
Yes.
It was something. It was called something. And then
Pedro needs a banana or something.
Pedro needs a banana.
Yeah,
That one
but the Scum game was like it's battle royale in prison. It's like battle royale meets the Hunger Games.
I saw it was more Hunger Games.
That's so on the nose for Devolver. It just seems crazy, but I think it's going to be fun. The thing about the Devolver folks is that they have just unbelievable taste.
Yeah.
You know, they pick really solid games. Like one of my favorite games that they've released was the Bro game.
Broforce.
Broforce is so good. And Enter the Gungeon is so good.
Enter the Gungeon's gorgeous. What is the game I'm thinking of right now? It's the one where you're jumping.
Downwell.
Down. Thank you. That's the one I was thinking. Downwell was absolutely extraordinary, and that's the game that needs to come on the Switch.
Yes.
Because in that game you actually can flip it vertically and then play it.
They have another game out right now, this Milano game, which is supposed to be like
really?
Yeah, like a shooting game set in the 70s Italy or something like that.
And you interviewed a developer about a game called Ape Out that looked really cool too. That was like a jazz gorilla killing game. It looks really
that was really
cool.
fun.
Yeah. That was an interesting conference. And what was the last game before we end off on Devolver? That last game that they're bringing back from 2004 that was on Xbox.
Yeah, it's a Metal Wolf Chaos.
Metal Wolf Chaos, something along those lines.
Metal Wolf Chaos XD, and that just looks it looks like everybody got wasted. You think From would republish this game? It's From Software. Remember that's what they used to do the mech games, right? And they made that damn one.
They got the rights for it and they're publishing it.
I don't know what's gameplay and what they just sort of put together with puppets. When I saw that trailer, I was like, "What is that?"
And I love that there was a lot of jokes about making everything battle royale, and it was cool. It was different, and now it seems like Devolver's trying to start a storyline with their conferences. Like you saw, it kind of ended with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Next year we'll find out what happens, but. That's it for Devolver, but the last thing we'll just finish up here on Square, Spark, because that's what we're supposed to be talking about. The last thing we want to just mention, obviously, Kingdom Hearts 3 was their big one.
Yes.
That they ended off the presser with, and then it was a sizzle reel.
I think this is going to be one of Square's biggest games ever.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be, because it's so accessible and it's going to be fun. I've already played it. I know that it's super fun. And I think that they have given it tons of time and tons of money. And it's incredibly important, and Disney has never been stronger, and the fact that they're also including all the Pixar stuff and The Incredibles 2, I don't know how much of this is hype or whatever, but they're talking that The Incredibles 2 is going to be the biggest animated movie of all time. I don't know if I don't know how they know that, and I don't know if that's put out there by Disney to get people talking about it being the biggest thing ever, but if it does happen to be that, it's like the perfect crescendo, you know. And then Wreck-It Ralph 2 is coming out later this year, and he's in the game as well.
It's just perfect,
Collecting all of that stuff, making it super easy to play, because it is way easier to play than any of the other Kingdom Hearts games. And also lots of depth, because they've been working on it for 10 years. You know, like, it is going to be a massive game.
How long before they add Marvel to that mix?
I think that's Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know,
gonna start running around.
And
with
I think
Tony
Big Hero
Stark
6 is probably in this.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's another Marvel Disney collab. They own all that. Yeah, it was great. I was skeptical, guys, about Kingdom Hearts 3, and then I played it. I'm like, oh my god, this is like a juggernaut. You cannot stop this game. It's coming. You know.
Can we even rate this conference? Are we allowed to?
Sure, of course.
I'm thinking that was this really even a conference more than like a sizzle reel?
I mean, we're going to do this. Unfortunately, I'm traveling tomorrow, so we're not going to be together to talk about Nintendo. But we're going to do the same kind of thing. I'll wrap it up and give it a score, I think, tomorrow. Won't be live though, because we're going to be in Los Angeles rocking to the conference. I think this is part of E3 now. You know, it's part of the overall experience. And I think it was a very impressive showcase. That's what they're calling it, of a lot of games that Square Enix has their hands on, and they're bringing out to the people, and lots of different diversity. It's not just JRPGs from Square Enix.
I love that you mentioned that, for sure. That Square is showing us that they are not just that JRPG company that everyone thinks them to be, because the first thing that comes to your mind when you think Square is Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts and a franchise like that, but they're totally straying away from that.
Their first big game was Tomb Raider, right? And it's a Canadian-made game based on a UK established property, starring a UK lead traveling to South America.
Yeah.
And published by a San Francisco headquarter, or or a Los Angeles headquarter studio. International. And Kingdom Hearts is what they end with, and it's about a Japanese-made game about properties made in Los Angeles and the Bay Area.
Very cool. Yeah.
So no, they're a very huge international outfit, and they make lots of cool games. And I think that was a great showcase. Gets an 8 from me. How about you?
8. I'm gonna give him a 7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay.
7 for me. I think that there just weren't enough big surprises, and I'm actually being nice with a 7. I feel like.
Wow.
Because
we've got a 7.4, and Ryan Jackson says 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys.
Ryan, you got to explain that 3. I mean, the 3. I'd say an 8. I think that was a really solid collection of 10 games.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not a hardware manufacturer.
Yeah, of course,
Right.
of course. I'm not putting them to the standard that I'd expect from one of the big 3.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
but I just don't think that there was maybe if we saw Final Fantasy, but I think you're right, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I think maybe the Avengers game.
Yeah.
And maybe likely Final Fantasy 7 we're gonna see during the Sony presser.
Right.
And as far as Final Fantasy 7 goes, I know it's probably only gonna be the first chapter.
We're all over the map on scores. We got a 7 from Alex Stone. We got a 9 from Wesley West. 6.5 from R.J. Baldwin. We didn't even get a score from Nakatomi Power. We got a wow, what a disappointment. Tyler Hodgkinson says 6. We got Jordan Cunningham in at a 7.5.
Blake, what's your score?
8.5 from Sam. 8.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
you thought it was cool.
Yeah.
8.5 from Sam Loden. Hi there. Gets a 4 from 4 from Hi there. 6 for me, but if it wasn't me, it would be a 7 from Rock Yeah. I think Rock Yeah is speaking for a number of people.
Well, I think he knows that he's probably a big Square fan.
Right.
So a lot of times
he knows that he isn't.
Oh, he isn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he isn't. Remember, pubs devs show more games during E3 week. They tend not to put all their eggs into the conference. Yeah, I think we're going to see Final Fantasy VII tonight, and I think we're going to see Avengers tonight at PlayStation. Yes.
I think we're going to see Final Fantasy VII. I don't think we're going to see Avengers.
I think we are because Marvel and Sony have a very good relationship right now. And I think we're going to see that tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think we might get teased on what's next after Avengers and from the Spider-Man game.
What are the chances in your mind that Sony teams up with Square for this Avengers project and keeps it exclusive for the PS4?
Very good.
You think that there's a chance of that?
Very, very good, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That would be...
Very good.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That would be a killer.
Knowing all, because I know a lot of the people that work at Marvel Games, and I know the Insomniac folks, and I know, where PlayStation is sitting right now in the install base, and I know how important, keeping a little bit of a collection of superheroes tight there. And we might see something aligned between Warner Brothers and Xbox.
Okay.
That brings some of the DC stuff to the... I wouldn't be surprised. That would not shock me.
Yeah.
Not that it would be exclusive, but maybe some timed exclusive stuff or some extra content.
Extra content is very likely.
And I don't know if there's a Superman game coming or if there's more Arkham stuff. But if something happens with Marvel and Sony, I think something could happen with DC and Xbox. Yeah.
It's been a while since the last Batman
I wouldn't
game,
be shocked. Yeah.
What is everyone talking about? Are we talking getting more Twisted Metals here?
Greg Miller will be a DC villain. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm thinking it's an exclusive too. What are their odds of the X-Men game being made somewhere? I think that happens with.
As soon as the
rights are all worked out.
Exactly, the rights are worked out, and Fox no longer has or is owned by Disney, I should say. That's when I think X-Men you'll start seeing X-Men everywhere more often. I think you'll start seeing more X-Men action figures and comics and
Geek Speak Made Chic says if the Marvel Square games were Sony exclusives, that would be a bad idea. It's all about business, though. It's all about deals getting made and things getting done, and Marvel and Sony and Disney are in business together right now. Right, they're making Spider-Man movies.
And let's face it, Sony has been kind of the kings of really trying to get as many exclusives as possible. We were talking about yesterday how they kind of took that over Xbox, where Xbox back in the 360 era was more of the system that was all about having as many exclusives as possible.
Right.
And now Sony has really taken
yeah,
that
they're
over.
chasing it
They're
big time.
chasing it. Yeah, they want you to know that this is the only place you can play this game.
Easton D wants to know what Taz thinks of the Square Enix press conference. 7.5 from Taz. Okay. Okay.
That's a good point.
Very smart observation from Taz saying that they had the length of the press conference was what EA had the actual material for, and they padded it with some stuff that was not really entertaining, like the guy playing Command and Conquer on his phone.
And that esports garbage needs to get the hell out of there. Like that EA conference seemed like something that was
good comments, Taz.
So 10 years ago.
Yes.
You know, like they need to just see what Sony is doing. They need to see what even Square is doing, and just be like, here are games.
Yes.
And that's it. You know, bring out a developer.
Hi there reminded me that I have to have a sip of water, so I'm going to do that.
Okay, I have more here for you. Don't worry.
Okay, I think that's good for our streamer on Square Enix.
Yeah.
We're going to take a little break because we've got to work out our dance routine for the next number.
True.
Right?
That's right. Yeah.
We're going to break it, hip hop. Do some popping and lock it. No, we're going to come back. I think it's 1 o'clock is when the Ubisoft launches, so expect us in 2 hours or an hour and a half at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, so 3:30 Eastern. We're going to come back with a pre-show. We'll start giving you guys some ideas of what we think is going to happen at the Ubisoft thing, and then they will turn around and shock the hell out of them with great ideas. Oh yes, and please come on down because we are live here at EXP. It's on Pender Street in Vancouver, 309 Pender, and we've got T-shirts here if you want to pick up one of the Play Forever EPN T-shirts.
Gorgeous shirt.
And come and have some good food and drink, and Ubi doesn't disappoint with their press conferences. We're gonna have fun there, and then we will also have fun with the PlayStation conference later tonight. Okay, so we'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned. EP will be back very soon.